This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian.
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hey, this is Jenni Santana, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today. The trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube at Castbox. Sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., alongside Scooter Dust.
There are three types of people in this world: those who can count and those who can't.
And it is a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with Jenni Santana.
Yes.
How are you?
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. It's great to have you on. Can you tell us where we can find you next?
Yeah, for sure. So on social media, I'm on Instagram and Twitter. My name is Jenni_Santana_, so you can find me there. If you're in the Vegas area, I own a medical clinic called Infinite Wellness. So on Instagram, follow that as well. It's Infinite Wellness LV. We do stem cells, hormones, aesthetics, hair restoration, IV therapy, all kinds of good stuff to get you looking and feeling your best. Also, I'm on the New Network. It's a streaming network. It's thenewnetwork.com if you want to find it. I'm on there. I do a segment called Jenny's Jam, like every other Saturday. And I also have a show on there called Beyond the Gym, which is a great show that talks about what happens to you after your, for lack of better words, like when your passion is over, but like if you're in the spotlight and then that kind of goes away because you either aged out or you had injuries and you can't keep doing that thing, like what happens to you? How do you adjust to that and find a new passion, I guess? And then also at FSW, Future Stars of Wrestling,
Yes.
You can follow them on YouTube. They have some great wrestling videos. You can see all the interviews I do with the wrestlers, and they have a show coming up in Las Vegas called Mecca on Sunday, March 26th. So if you're in the area, check it out.
All right, and you don't have to go looking for any of those links. All of the links to her social media will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. All right. Now you work, like you said, you work for Future Stars of Wrestling and UWW as well. Can you tell us about your relationship with those companies?
Future Stars of Wrestling, I wrestle there, so I train there. My trainer is Sim Bodie. Also, so I'm learning to wrestle there. I'm going to be doing some wrestling shows coming up in the spring and summer. I also do interviews there with the different wrestlers for the shows. Like we do pre-tape interviews, post-show interviews. So it's pretty great to get the backstory going on between those matches and the storyline. So it's a good opportunity for someone who hasn't, for new people coming in who aren't familiar with some of the things going on, it helps catch you up on what's going on. And UWW is an all-women's wrestling organization. I am the general manager, and there was 3 shows that you can find on YouTube if you're interested in catching up on those. And there should be a 4th one coming soon.
Okay. Scooter, you have a question.
Hey, the fact that you mentioned that you're learning to wrestle, Sin Bodhi is training you, and that you're doing these interviews. It sounds remarkably similar to how I started. I'm going to tell this story for the 10 millionth time. years ago. Back in the good old NYWC, I started out as a timekeeper. Then I moved into ring announcer, and such as I was training to wrestle. However, there was something that caught my eye, and I'm not sure if it's really relevant to your exact wrestling career, but I think I have to ask this because I went through the same thing. Now, correct me if I am wrong, but you had suffered a car accident. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, I did.
I myself suffered a car accident in 2012 that basically has put an end to any in-ring return until I can, afford fusion surgery or a visit with Dr. James Andrews. But what I wanted to know is, it kept you out of training for quite some time. Tell us about the process of coming back and from a potentially career-ending incident to being able to get back in the ring.
Yeah, so that's interesting that you saw that. That was in 2018 that I was in the car accident. That was before I even started wrestling. So I was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the time. So I was in this car accident. I got T-boned. When the paramedics came, they were like, I can't believe she's walking out of that accident, because if there was a passenger in my car, they literally would have got severed in half. And I got T-boned at like 60, 65 miles an hour. So yeah, it was pretty bad. Like, my car was completely totaled, and you would not think that someone survived it. I was on the sidelines with jiu-jitsu for over a year. I couldn't really practice. I still went there. I watched class. I tried to absorb the knowledge that was being taught at the time. I didn't think I was ever going to compete again just because of all the injuries I had. Like my knee, I tore my MCL, PCL, meniscus. My neck had a little bit of an injury. It was, things that were lingering on. And I don't really talk about it because we're still going through stuff for it. So I can't really say too much about it. But, yeah, I was on the sidelines for, I want to say, over a year. And it came down to, you're going to be in pain every day. And are you going to be in pain every day and be miserable because you're not doing your passion? Or are you going to be in pain and be determined to do your passion again? And mine was the latter. Like, I didn't care what pain I was in, because it was more painful to not do what I enjoy than to not do it. So, the physical pain, yeah, it was going to be there. But that was the easier route for me than the mental pain of being sidelined and not being able to do it and train and do what I love. So eventually, I started training little by little. Really cautious about a lot of things, just because, as you come back from a big injury like that, you're always kind of, you're cautious, and you're aware of things where before things didn't hurt and you could move it in certain positions, and now you have to adapt to your body. And so definitely had to adapt to different things, but came back and ended up winning world championships at jiu-jitsu in purple belt and brown belts after that injury. So I also, utilized stem cell therapy, which, helped immensely with coming back and getting back into shape and being able to train and compete at a high level. So, I don't know. It wasn't worth it for me to stay on the sidelines. I've always been an active person, and so, even not being able to train, I was still there and tried to keep the same routine. I would train 2, sometimes 3 times a day. So even though I wasn't training at that time, when I could, I would still go there and watch just to maintain the routine, so that when I could do something, I would still be in that mindset of, this is the time I'm here, this is the time I'm there. Otherwise, I don't know if I could have kept it up or came back. I think it would have been a lot harder.
Oh, right. All right. I absolutely love that. I think that actually, I think we're going to come back to some of those topics you mentioned a little later. Meanwhile, James.
Yes. Can you tell us about competing in your first match against Erica Torres? Obviously a well-respected name on the independents. The match was interesting to say the least, but can you tell us about the experience?
Yeah, it was interesting. I had not been training that long at that time, and so I was a little nervous, but then when I got there, they wanted more of like a cat fight, more of like a shoot style. And I was like, all my nerves went away, and I'm like, okay, I got this. And so then it came really easy. It was a great, I loved being in front of the crowd. Like, it was great energy there. Erica was great to work with. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, I thought there should have been, then it kind of just died. Like, we never even got a real match because they counted us both out. So, I don't know. It kind of is like a cliffhanger that never got solved, but it would have been great to get back into the ring with her. I think she comes from a background where she studied MMA as well, so I think it was a good matchup. Yeah.
Right, and it just kind of seemed like you were leading towards a tag team match between you and I believe Danny B and her and Kelsey Rakin. What kind of happened that, it didn't, these matches didn't kind of formulate?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was the organization itself. I'm not sure. I don't know if they're still running even, or I think they had some shows that they had canceled. And so I think it was probably the promotion end as opposed to like us being available for the actual match.
Okay. And you did shoot a promo before that match where you were a Wizard of Oz-esque character with a white dog.
Yeah, so we had, because I know I was going against Erica, and her gimmick is she's the witch, and so I just wanted to, be the good witch and be the opposite of her, and so that's why I chose that. I thought the promo was hilarious, and I love getting dressed up and doing stuff like that. So I was just kind of being goofy with it and having a play on her persona as well. So
where'd you find the dog?
That is my brother's dog. I wanted to have a basket for her, but yeah, she was at the house all the time. So.
Oh, my pretty little dog.
He looks like Toto too, so I was like, this is freaking perfect.
Well, he played this job very well.
Yeah.
Alright. Scooter, you have a question.
Now, you mentioned your jiu-jitsu background. We've had a number of guests who have also had a background in that and other MMA styles as well. But the thing that really struck me, and this is something I personally have never seen before, and I would like to know more about it. Tell us about being a no-gi champion.
Oh, so yeah. So in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you can either compete in the gi, which is, for those of you who aren't familiar, it kind of is like a karate uniform, and then your belt's on there, or no gi, which is more like wrestling type style, like you would see in, like, they have the national championships of wrestling right now. So it's more like that style. Gi is a lot of grips where you use the gi you can do chokes with the gi and you can grab on, and no gi, you can't grab clothing like that and keep a hold. So that's the main difference between gi and no gi.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. So. All right. James, you want me to throw it back to you?
Yeah. Now you're doing jiu-jitsu while you're doing wrestling training, sometimes in the same day. And obviously one can help with the other, but it is still, a very different format going from jiu-jitsu to wrestling. So how do you turn your brain off from one discipline to the other?
I'm still working on that. I think that's probably been my biggest challenge in the whole process of starting to wrestle. So that's a work in progress. I guess the main difference is you do not want to show any type of weakness in jiu-jitsu when you're, grappling with someone. And so if someone gets you in something, you need to keep a game face and get out of it, as opposed to wrestling where it's like a give and take. And if someone's pounding me as hard as they can and I'm just coming back and back and back, it's not the best overall wrestling experience for the fans, I guess.
Has wrestling practice ever bled into jiu-jitsu practice?
I think that, the best way that I can learn to wrestle is also to incorporate who I am. And so I'm really good on the mat. So like when I'm wrestling, sometimes it'll go to the ground. Like I can chain wrestle really well. I'm not a high flyer by any stretch of the imagination. Like my coach always makes fun of me that I'm Vader's kid and not a Santana. But it's hard for me to get off the ground. Like I'm heavy and I feel like a lead balloon when I'm getting off the ground. So definitely it's kind of the matches sometimes have gone to the mat as opposed to the top rope, for sure.
All right. Scooter, you have a question. Don't forget the bogus question.
Yeah, I'm retiring that bit. Now, you mentioned Sin Bodhi being your trainer, a very unorthodox personality. Tell us a little bit about his training methods, and I'm trying to figure who could we compare him to. But you know what? I don't think we're going to do a comparison. Just tell us a little bit about oh God, I completely botched this. How much of Sin Bodhi, aka Kazarni, bleeds over into Sin Bodhi, the human being and trainer? There we go.
I think that he's very different when we're training. He doesn't have the cape on. He's not, the scary clown type person. He just has so much knowledge. Like, he's been in the business. I think he's one of the most, the longest active wrestler there probably is in the business, or one of the most active wrestlers. He's still wrestling, I think, almost every week. And so the amount of knowledge and experience that he has is unbeatable. For me, I don't think I could ever hold that much knowledge in my head. It would take him a lifetime to kind of give it to me, just because it's so many experiences that he's had. He's wrestled so many of the great people, and also coached and produced different talent. And so he just comes at it where he knows how you need to be coached. Like, some people, I'm more of a person who needs like a little bit of harsher coaching and not so much light coaching, if that makes sense, because I will usually perform to whatever standard it is. And so if he's easy on me, like I will be easy on what I'm doing, as opposed to if someone's like, no, you need to do this, you need to do it right, you need to do it over and over and over. And then I will, get more down to business, I guess, if that makes sense at all. So I need someone kind of to not tell me, oh, this is great, but more be harsher and more critical of me in order for me to get better. But he's also great, not like the physical stuff, but just the mental aspect of training, the psychological aspect of setting up a match, of how to do certain things and have things come across so that it, maximizes the whole experience of the match. And then also promos, like sometimes we do, promos in class, and just every aspect of what you need to be a good wrestler, because you definitely need more than just being a good athlete to be successful as a wrestler. So he kind of hits on all of those aspects of the package.
Yeah, I remember, watching Sin back in the days of OVW. I remember being so thrilled when he actually accepted my MySpace friend request. That's how long I remember knowing.
Oh my God!
Zen.
I never even had a MySpace.
Yeah, that's how long. If it gives you anything that for sure dates us. Jays, would you mind if I go into one more?
Sure.
Alright, now, we established that Sin Bodhi is a constant presence in your life. There's somebody else that's a constant presence in your life, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah, I've known Kevin for a while, since I started wrestling. And he's been, we've been in situations together numerous times. The very first time that I was in a wrestling ring, I was managing,
Too Cold
managing Two Court Scorpio, yeah. It was against the Blood Hunter. And so Kevin Sullivan was with the Blood Hunter at that time. And so, we had a little bit of a tangle up in the ring. But that was the very first time I had ever stepped into the ring. And so it was an interesting experience, because there was so many people at that show, and it was such a big match, and it was super exciting to be a part of. I look back on my part of it. I could have done this and this better, but overall, like it was awesome to be thrown in there and have that be able to work with such great people. Your very first time was unbelievable. So.
And I know that Kevin Sullivan does a lot of work with SWE out of Texas, which who. Ironically, their champion is Charlie Haas. We're not going to go into any Haas anything, but that goes back to a connection between Las Vegas, where a certain former tag team partner of his resides, who I am friends with, and I do a lot of Twitch stuff with, Rico Cosentino. That's just another little thing of putting myself over. But what is, if you can remember, what is the oddest thing you've heard come out of Kevin Sullivan's mouth?
I don't know. I was probably the oddest experience was the whole, spike thing that happened at the show that I was at. So, that probably was it.
All right.
That was a lot to take in, but.
All right. Yep. James.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Blood Hunter, and your story is so interesting that you got into wrestling during an interview on Hannible TV. Now, my question is, we don't normally get to see that moment where we say, "Hey, I want to become a pro wrestler." Do you go back and listen to that interview and kind of see where you've come since then?
No, I haven't listened to it at all, but I remember it, and people have asked me about it before. And, it's always the question, like, why did you get into pro wrestling? What made you? And, pro wrestling was always something in my life. Like, we always would have matches with my family. Like, my family always watched pro wrestling. So it was always, like, there in the background. Like, as a child, we had a organization in our basement where we made belts and stuff like that. We even did we even videotape matches and used to do promos and stuff. And so it was always kind of in my life first with, to some extent. And then when I had that interview, he had asked if I wanted to try pro wrestling, and I'm like, sure, I'll try it. It's an athletic thing. I might be okay at it. We'll see. And so definitely that was the moment that then I decided to get in the ring for the very first time. And I thought how unexperienced and unknowledgeable I was. I was like, oh, it's probably like a bouncy house when you fall on it. No, definitely not a bouncy house. Like, these are like wooden beams. Like, it's metal and wood, and you're getting slammed on wooden beams. So that was definitely interesting because I had never been in a real wrestling ring to that point. So definitely my preconceived notions of what they were landing on and how it felt definitely changed in the blink of an eye when I got there. But I haven't listened to it. It would be interesting. There's so much room to grow always. So I don't know, I'm always trying to better myself and not I'm usually really critical on myself too, as opposed to, patting myself on the back, like, this is how far you've come. It's always like, but you have so much more to do and so much more to learn. And so.
Yeah. Well, you are, besides wrestling, it seems like you're doing all the other aspects of pro wrestling. You've done backstage interviews. You are the GM of UWW. You've done commentary. How has doing the other aspects of pro wrestling helped you in your pro wrestling?
I think just being in front of the camera in different areas makes you more comfortable in front of the camera. And so that's always going to help with, pro wrestling. You need to portray emotion and be comfortable in front of huge crowds. And so getting to work in front of the camera is always going to help that because it makes you more comfortable. And when you're more comfortable, your personality can come out. And I think the most successful wrestlers, their personality shines through. And so you can get to know them a lot. So I think that's how it's helped me.
Oh, that's good. You have a question.
All right. Now it's time to address that certain thing. Now, in doing my research, there was one relationship that stood out because it just exuded positive vibes and it just exuded love. Tell us about your relationship with Andrew Anderson.
It exuded love. My relationship with Andrew Anderson is Hannible had set up an appointment with me to meet a person who owned a stem cell clinic in New Jersey, and now they're actually my business partners out here in Las Vegas for our clinic called Infinite Wellness. But that clinic out there is called Integrated Pain Management, and that is with Dr. Caprio and his son Angelo Caprio. They own that. And so I flew to Jersey to get stem cells done. And then AJ is really good friends with Andrew. And so I was able to meet Andrew at that time. And so we just became friends. He's known Tito a long time. And so I don't know. That sounds that question sounded weird, like a love relationship.
Well,
so,
yeah,
we're good friends.
I mean, yeah, the pictures you have just make it seem very happy, and yeah, I wasn't implying anything. It's just
yeah, he's like, we're all great friends. We went to Florida for Gangrel's wedding. It was
oh my God, James.
AJ and Andrew Anderson. And it was just a good time, like a group of friends hanging out, enjoying, someone celebrating their marriage and their love. It was great. And I saw Andrew at Cauliflower Alley last year. I mean, I haven't been to Jersey for a while, so I actually haven't seen him in quite some time. But yeah, we're always super friendly when we see each other. And
well, don't worry, Jersey still smells over here. I'm Jersey's my backyard. I'm in New York City. The stem cell therapy caught my eye because that's always in the news. It's always raising a couple of eyebrows, and especially with Tommaso Ciampa making headlines for receiving stem cell therapy. Unfortunately, not via Infinite Wellness. That's his loss, not yours. I have to ask, was the idea, did receiving stem cell therapy really sell you on the idea of essentially building a business around it?
Yeah, I mean, it helped. I mean, it literally regrew the cartilage in my knee. And so
wow.
It was down to nothing.
Oh.
And it was at the point of getting a full knee replacement. And I had a coworker who had 2 full knee replacements, and she said she's in pain every day. And her flexibility was where mine was before I got the treatment. I got the treatment, and now, I mean, the one knee was worse than the other one, and so I had more than one treatment in the one knee, but the other knee, I only had one. And my strength I'm stronger than I ever have been in my legs now. My flexibility is 99.9%. You know what it was when I warm up. It's fine.
Oh.
I don't have any pain. We scanned my knee not that long ago, and you could see the cartilage in there. And so they look great, both of them. I think it was like 3 weeks ago, our doctor was out from Jersey, and we scanned it to see, how it was doing. And he's like, they both look amazing. And so the treatment, like I had heard about stem cells and stem cell therapy. I hadn't really had a lot of experience or did an absorbent amount of research before I got them. And then when I got hooked up with AJ, he gave me a lot of information. He has a lot of knowledge. They've been working with them for years and had really great results in so many different aspects. It's used to treat CTE. They put it through the nasal passage, and it crosses over some membrane. I forget which one it is that the doctor said. They do them in the IV. It's brought people back from kidney failure, obviously, like directly into joints. Different cancers. There was a patient that wasn't heavy enough or wasn't healthy enough to get the surgery they needed, and so they had given them stem cells, and after a few weeks or months, they were strong enough and able to get like a full bowel replacement surgery, I believe it was. And so just the science behind it is just incredible, and the outcomes that they've had and that they were able to explain to me made me confident in it. And so, coming from a background of being Catholic, the first thing my grandmother was like, is this from aborted babies? And just learning it from front to back, like where do they come from? They come from the umbilical cord of C-section births. And then what do they do? And when you're not familiar with it, like all that stuff you have to learn, but you don't realize it until you get it, the value of it. I didn't, at least. Like you can hear that and you're almost still skeptical until you get an injection and now your knee has regrown itself. And so it almost seems incredible. So for me, I was like, we definitely need this out here in Vegas. Like you're doing amazing things for people on the East Coast, like people travel from all over, and they had wanted to open up a practice on the West Coast. I'm like, I would love to be a part of it. And so we were able to make that happen.
That's absolutely incredible. And coming from someone who, me personally, who would likely seek it out in the near future, and more in the immediate future for my mother, who is dealing with a complete case of total muscle atrophy in both her legs. So I love that that you're proof that it works, and that you are the hope that it gives to people as well. I absolutely I love that.
Yeah, and the ability to be able to perform where you may have thought you had a career-ending injury, and now that's not the case, because you can rebuild your tissues and rebuild, things, and your body can heal itself with the help of some science. So.
All right, James.
Yeah. Can you tell us about the advantages and disadvantages of being a second-generation wrestler?
Yeah, the advantages and disadvantages. I didn't grow up with Tito, so I don't know if I have like the traditional path of being a second generation wrestler.
Right.
So I can't really talk about that experience, but I could talk about my own. So just in general, advantages, you have it in your DNA. And wrestling, typically, they love to see legacies continue. And, all of his look at the Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair. Like, she's so talented. And, she maybe would have been that talented on her own. But being the daughter of Ric Flair has definitely helped her in some aspects. And, they see the similarities. And she has the costumes like him. And so... fans love to see that continue. And so that's definitely an advantage. A disadvantage, sometimes in the business, they're like, oh, you feel entitled, or, there's expectations on you. Like, well, Tito was one of the greatest baby faces ever. So, that's an expectation that you would, one, be a baby face, and one, be a fantastic one at that. I guess just the expectations on you, whereas, my personality maybe would be a great baby face, maybe it would be a great heel, but because of the legacy and the Santana name, it's just assumed that you'll be the baby face of it. And definitely, like, his moves, like, people love to see those moves continue. Like, he had the flying elbow and things like that. And so those are expectations that you would have those moves and master those moves and utilize them.
Paso de muerte.
Yeah.
Well, somebody I know that you work with, Sol Guerrero, and she kind of seems like she got the advantage of, having Eddie Guerrero as her father, but, maybe not the disadvantage of not having that wrestling knowledge, because he did die very early on in her life. Have you had a conversation with Sol about being second-generation wrestlers?
I haven't had a conversation specifically about that, but I've had numerous conversations with her. She is so talented, and, you know, being from two parents who are in the wrestling industry, you know, it was easy, not easy, but like a definite possibility of a transition for her to become a wrestler. And she is so talented in other aspects. I think, you know, maybe it was the harder route to choose something that wasn't that and to choose something that was her passion. Like the show that she puts on with those women, like it's just amazing. And that's what she does. Like, obviously she's a performer. You know, obviously she's great in front of the camera. She's great with the microphone. She's been the announcer at UWW. She has a personality that's larger than life. You want to listen to her. You want to see her more. You just want more of her when you get her. And you know, I've had nothing but great interactions with her, and I've, you know, grown to just everything she does. Like, she's a gorgeous woman, and she's good at everything she does. And so, you know, I think having that, you know, her father was an amazing wrestler, but he was so good at what he does. And, you know, and even Vicky, like her mom, like she's really good at what she does. And so Shaw, maybe not a wrestler. I think she did wrestle though, so I'm not really sure.
Yes, she did.
But what she's doing now is, I think, her passion. Like, she's happy with it. It's just, her energy just exudes like this is what she was meant for. So I think it's great to be able to find that, and definitely having those two parents who were performers helped her. So be a performer, because that's exactly what she is.
All right. Well, I think it's time once again for that segment. Jenni Santana's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
A road story?
Or just an interesting story at a show or pertaining to wrestling.
Oh gosh, now you put me on the spot. Interesting story pertaining to wrestling. I don't want to think of like a bad one where you're like, I think an interesting story. Probably one of the most interesting times I've had was when I went to WrestleCon last year. And like, wrestling being pretty new for me, I was just able to meet so many of the great people. And one of them was John Moxley, who actually recorded a video for my son, who's like one of his huge fans. Like, he loves, that's his favorite wrestler. And so that was probably my moment where I geeked out. You know, I'm not usually like that, but just because he was such a fan, like, he's such a fan of his, like, it was so exciting to be able to meet him and to get him a video that I knew he was going to love and, like, freak out about. So.
All right. Scooter, you have a question.
Now, you mentioned your son, and our research has shown that you want your children to go into wrestling training, you know, to be that, you know, that jewel, that rare jewel of a third generation wrestler. But what is one cautionary piece of advice you'd give someone on their first day of training?
Oh gosh, I would say be careful with the bumps. Like, that's probably my main thing. And I see people coming into the school, and sometimes they don't have any fear of stuff, which is good, but it's also could be negative, because I don't think they see danger in some of the stuff they're doing. And, you know, jumping off the top rope seems awesome, but one wrong move, if you're not ready to do it, and you could end your career, you know, you could possibly end your life. And so I think just being cautious and being smart about stuff. Like, you definitely want to try new things and learn and progress at a good rate, but also being aware of your abilities and not running before you can walk.
Mm-hmm. All right.
You do have 2 kids. What do you want them to see when you're what do you want them to see when you're in your pro wrestling?
Oh, I don't know. They keep me humble. I think I could showcase and headline WrestleMania, and they still would laugh at me. But so I don't think I'm impressing those 2 ever. I just want them to see, whether it's wrestling or life, that 1, I enjoy what I'm doing. 2, I work towards my goals and I don't give up. And I, am very determined, and I want them to see that. So whatever they decide they want to do in the future, they're working towards it, they're doing their best, and they're happy doing it. You don't want to get stuck in something that you're not happy in, and you don't want to go halfway in. I think in order to do anything great, you need to have that 100% commitment. And that 100% commitment comes with days where you may hate what you're doing, but at the end of the day, you realize this is what you want to do, and you're going to have those hard days and you're going to have those easy days, and you just have to make up your mind that you're going to put in the work consistently.
Well, speaking of putting in the work, you just achieved a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, no?
I did in December. Yay! We just had, for those of you who know jiu-jitsu, actually, funny story, we had Jake Shields in our clinic today, and I was talking to him about it, and I was like, yeah, I recently got my black belt, and I'm like, but I don't know, sorry, my dog, I was like, but I don't know crap yet, and from the outside world, you have a black belt and you have these skills, but when you're in it, you realize that it's only the beginning, and you have so much to learn and so many aspects of your own game to grow yet, that it's just that's now it can begin, as opposed to, oh, I got my black belt and I'm done with stuff, I don't have anything else to learn. No, I have so much to learn. And now that I've got my black belt, I feel like I have more to learn. So, but very exciting, and I've worked very, very hard for it for many, many years, consistently training. And like I said earlier, training on the days where you almost, not that you hated it, but you just, you were tired and you could make all these excuses, but you still got your butt to the gym. And they may have not been the greatest days of training, but they were still consistently days of training. So.
Because you still have first degree, second degree, and third degree black belts to go, no?
Yeah, you get different degrees per years as you train, and you can get all the way up to Koro belt. So there's always knowledge. My coach is Fredson Pachau. He's a 5th degree black belt, so wow. He's definitely very knowledgeable. He actually was one of the only people who went from purple belt to black belt. He just skipped right over brown in competition when he was beating black belts as a purple belt. So
now I was but the student, now I am the master type situation.
I am not the master, I am still his student. For sure, it's great when you're always trying to get new students. And I think it's really important for females in general to be able to defend themselves. And so he's great, when new students come in, he's always pairing us up. And I do teach some classes, but definitely when compared to him, I have, I feel like I have no knowledge, so there's always learning to be done. And even other students, it's just, everyone has their own way of doing things, and it's great to be able to learn from everyone. And if I think I had the attitude of now I know everything, I would never actually grow anymore. So.
Oh no, absolutely. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. You were casted in a soap opera?
Oh, when I was younger, I was. And I never got to be in it because we had to move to New York, and my mother decided that she didn't want to move to New York. So I always give her crap about it yet, but yeah, it was.
It was As the World Turns, right?
I'm not even sure. I don't even remember what it was. I think it might have been, I want to say it was Days of Our Lives, but I always used to watch that one. So, no, As the World Turns, I had done pageants when I was younger, and John Hensley was there, and we actually developed, like, I met him when I was a little kid, and he would, like, write to me. He, like, sent me jewelry and stuff, and so it was, like, a cute relationship that kind of helped, me grow, and it was cool. So I still have, like, this necklace he sent me when I was little, and, like, these letters, and so it was just a great guy who, was willing to help me as a child coming up in the business, I guess.
Was that, like, your first passion to act and do that side of things?
Yeah, when I was younger, that was probably my passion. I wanted to be an actress, and that was what I wanted to do. So, and I still, I get to do that now. But, and who knows? Maybe I'll, get my acting break one day.
I think that.
I loved acting. I used to model in different magazines when I was younger, so I enjoyed it.
I think that's a great segue to the colossal question, Scooter.
Yes. Now, well, let's say that one of the few remaining big shot studios that only exist today are making a blockbuster movie about Jenni Santana's life. And every blockbuster movie has a blockbuster soundtrack. What would be 3 to 5 songs that you would have on the Jenni Santana movie soundtrack?
Oh my gosh. I would say I love working out to Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit, so that would be in like a little workout montage. Taylor Swift songs, like I think I'm an addict. I just
oh my god.
So many of her songs, I can't describe it. So definitely a lot of her songs would be in there, depending on different aspects of what was happening in my life. And then probably like a turning point in my life, was having my daughter really young. And so I love this song by Kenny Chesney, There Goes My Life. And so that would probably be during that part. But, I also love country songs. Like, there's so many good songs out there. And different, like, I work out to, my iPod has opera on it. It has country. It has, like, 80s rock. It has 80s love songs. It has, like, stuff from the 90s, 2000s. It's got rap. It's got so many different aspects, like R&B. And so I guess it would kind of depend what was happening with my life at the time for me to narrow it down. You know how long it takes me on my Instagram to come up with a song for this story on Instagram? Like, sometimes it's pathetic. I'm like, well, that's not really exactly what I'm feeling at the moment, so I'm going to keep searching. And so definitely love music, and I think music can, tell so much about what you're feeling at a certain time.
All right, so we've got Limp Bizkit, Taylor Swift, Kenny Chesney. Are we going to go ahead and lock those in?
Yeah, lock those in.
All right, okay. I believe we'll be compiling a a playlist to go along that should be available on the Wrestling with Spotify in the kind of distant future.
Very distant future. Continue.
We have archives to go on. Now, there's a second question, James. Did you want to ask the second? Okay.
You did the second.
Now, eBay thought we have skipped over the most important part, but we haven't. We just like to do things out of order. Of course, every blockbuster movie has to have a blockbuster cast. Who would play Jenni Santana in the Jenni Santana blockbuster movie, and who would play 3 to 5?
Just Jenni first.
Oh, just Jen. Okay, well, okay. So that's the party.
Does Jenni play herself?
No, Jenni does not, because Jenni is obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Okay, let's see, who would play me? Well, I mean, gotta think about this. Huh. Maybe like Charlize Theron. We'll say she looks like me a little bit, or I look like her a little bit. So, personality-wise, I don't know. Like, there's so many great actors out there.
I mean, Charlize Theron, you can't get too much higher than that.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, she's an amazing actress. I think she could nail anything that she's so. Or if it wasn't, I don't even know if it wasn't her. Never thought about someone playing me. I don't know. So unique. How can you capture all of the essence of Jenni Santana without being Jenni Santana, right?
Yes.
Oh my.
I mean, if you...
Yeah, I'll say her. I'll say her.
Now,
okay.
Now, Scooter, now we get into every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people in your movie, and who would play them?
Oh my gosh. Good Lord. Who would play 3 people? Well, I come from a family of, 5 generation of women, so I would probably have my mom and my grandmother in there because they are such important roles in my life. I can say that my great-grandmother, if she was in there, if you guys have ever seen Everyone Loves Raymond, his mom.
Doris Roberts.
Yeah. Literally, my great-grandmother. Like, it would not be a stretch. Like, that character, that's her. So that would be an easy one to fill. Then I would probably have, oh gosh, if I'm thinking of any man to be in there, like a leading man, it would have to be someone who's like a hot mess, who literally almost messed up Jenni Santana's life. Oh God, so like, yeah, be perfect. Like the biggest red flag that just wreck and crew everything. Yeah, that would be one. That would be the leading man. We'd get him out after the first 30 minutes. But yeah, for sure.
And I think the one James and I are curious about is Tito.
Yeah, so Tito, gosh, he could probably play himself. He's really good at the persona that he portrays.
Yeah,
so I think
true.
that'd be good. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Probably a little bit different in my story than how people see him, but it would be very interesting. So I think that would be fantastic.
Like a Lion King type scene where he comes in the clouds and says, "Achieve your destiny."
Either that or welcome to CNN.
Alright. This is sounding like an awesome movie. pre-order your tickets now.
I needed like 2 days of sleeping on that to decide that, but definitely the great grandmother. Like I've said that numerous times. Like she's already that role's hers.
All right, locking in new roles.
All right.
Now, can you tell us your love of pickles?
My God, I love pickles so much. Like, oh, I can't even describe. Like, I will drink pickle juice when I'm thirsty. It's so good. Like, it can be the sweet pickles, it can be the bread and butter pickles, the kosher pickles. Like, I don't even have a favorite pickle. I used to, but I can't find them anymore. It was like this jar of bread and butter pickles, and I think it was like Mrs. Flanagan's or Flanan, I forget. I don't think they make them anymore, but that was my all-time favorite jar of pickles, and I would literally eat almost the whole jar in one sitting, and my mom would get so angry because I ate so many, but I just love, like, they're my favorite food. Like, I will, and someone brought me pickles to that match against Erica, and I totally opened it and popped it open and drank the pickle juice. So like, thank you.
Popeye.
And so, I mean, yeah, I will always be in the mood for pickles. Like when we go out to eat and someone doesn't want their pickle with their sandwich, I'm always like, okay, I got that. I'll take that. So no one should ever throw their pickles away.
I am a lover of rare foods, rather snack foods and beverages and whatnot. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but Sonic restaurants have released, at least for the past, I think, 2 years, a pickle juice slush.
What? I'm not aware of this. I thought you were going to say fried pickles. A pickle juice, like it really is pickle juice?
Yes, it really is. Oh man,
Is it
I don't know.
Like it?
I've not found a Sonic that serves it yet.
We have a Sonic out here. I'm gonna check. If they serve it once it gets warmer, I'm gonna get it and do a video of me trying it.
We're not looking after this interview.
If they ever start another advertising campaign revolving around pickles, that would be the best time to get it.
Yeah,
It will be there.
I gotta see. I'm gonna do research on this. It sounds very interesting to me.
Alright, well now on to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Gross!
Really?
Yeah, I'm not even really a meaty person for pizza. Like, I don't really like, I mean, I've eaten pepperoni pizza, but I would never, like, order pepperoni pizza or sausage or chicken. It's not really my thing. If anything, like, I'm kind of plain when it comes to that. Like, I do plain pizza. But, like, mushrooms and onions, I could also live on mushrooms and onions. And so that's, like, the only thing I like on my pizza.
What about pickles?
I don't know about pickles on my pizza. Although, like, I will wrap this sweet pickle. Actually, I will wrap pickles in, like, cheese and make my own little cheese pickle sandwich. And so, I mean, maybe minus the dough, I guess. But I don't know about the melted cheese. Although I've eaten fried pickles, and those are fantastic. So, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I would try pickles on pizza. That might be a little bit much.
Oh.
I'd have to eat them separate.
I might have to put together a pickle flavored gift basket because there's all sorts of pickle flavored items.
I don't like pickle flavored chips.
Really, not even fried pickle flavored chips.
I don't know about fried pickle flavored chips. I don't think so. I just don't. I'm super plain too. Like, my mother was not a good cook, and she didn't use any spices or flavoring except salt and maybe pepper sometimes, very rarely. And so when I eat, it's super plain. And so to mix stuff together is not like a huge thing for me. It's like flavor overload and my palate can't take it. So like pickles I can eat, but then like stuff flavored as like it's not an authentic pickle. It's just a pickle flavor. It's not really the real thing. So I like chips, but I only like plain chips. I don't like barbecue chips. I don't like cheddar chips. I can do a little bit sour cream and onion sometimes, but not rare. Like I'll usually stay like plain.
Okay. Hi. What's your spirit Pokemon?
I don't know. I don't do Pokemon.
Alright, so no spirit Pokemon. Now, we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for THUG? THUG.
No, and I cannot get thought out of my brain right now, so that's all that's in my head. No, I do not know the acronym.
T is for terrible. H is for hell. U is for ugly. And G is for jail. 'Cause a thug can't spell.
I'm so glad
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. We need to teach you some Tracy Smothers down there.
Yeah.
But we love Tracy, trying to keep the memory alive.
Oh, cool.
And Scooter, glad to have you back doing that.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
Now, on to the weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully.
For 5 minutes.
Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual Rock.
Wrestling a Rock?
Yes.
Huh. I don't know if it was like on it. I guess it would depend on the situation. Maybe.
Okay.
I would consider it.
Well, just for context, there's this wrestler named Psycho Mike that wrestled an actual Rock for over 15 minutes in what was called a Tungsten Man match. An Iron Man match that lasted for 2 weeks.
Oh.
Canadians.
Did The Rock win?
They tied. But the Rock was technically the champion, so he retained. So yes, he did win.
Oh, well, that's quite interesting. I don't know if I would wrestle for 2 weeks a Rock, but I mean, sometimes I wrestle getting my pants on, so.
I don't think a lot of people would, but hey, that's what Psycho Mike does.
I'll have to Google him as well.
If you want, I could send you the match.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And, but on a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh my gosh, in 5 years. God, I don't even know. I see myself still having the clinic and helping a lot of people getting back from their injuries and stuff. So that's probably a professional level.
I'm probably there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that aspect, I still see myself doing jiu-jitsu. I think that I will do that for life. I want to be like the 80-year-old in competition, still competing. That would be my goal if it comes to that. Love to be growing professionally in the wrestling world, whether that's in the ring or doing commentary or interviews, and just kind of immersing myself more fully into the business and see where it can take me, I guess.
Now, usually I ask what's a match people should go out of their way to see that shows off what Jenni Santana is all about, but you only have the one match, no?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I've had like a match at FSW, like a student match. I'm gonna be doing some matches in the spring and summer, so for sure those. But yeah, I don't have too many wrestling matches out there to watch. I have a bunch of jiu-jitsu matches out there that people can watch on YouTube. So they can start there.
Okay, well, maybe I'll just find one of those jiu-jitsu matches and I'll put it in the description of the video below for anybody that wants to see it.
Okay, cool.
Alright, and since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Sure.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Oh gosh, I mean, the first one that comes to mind is The Rock.
Worst wrestler.
Sometimes me. I don't know.
No.
No, it's so difficult to what's the worst wrestler? I don't know. It's probably someone that people dislike, but they're a great heel. I don't know the worst wrestler. I don't know.
Are we giving her the default?
I believe we should.
For worst wrestler, you have chosen Eva Marie.
My brother says that too.
Smart kid. Smart man.
Okay, I'll do that.
Alright. Your main event in WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Ronda Rousey.
Alright. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Oh gosh. Oh, there's so many ones that pop. Like, I would come out to one that, with the first note, you know who it is. There's one that's like a glass break one. Is that Stone Cold's or?
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Like, last year WrestleMania when it like you just get the ones that by one note that people know who it is. Like I want my own, but that would be the characteristic of the music that I would want.
So not Golds and Cars?
Sorry, what?
So not
Oh,
Golds
God.
and Cars?
God.
I don't know.
You, James, you weren't even born when that was around.
It was Tito Santana's and Rick Martel's.
Strike. That was Strike Forces.
Oh, the Strike Force, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is.
Wait, say it again. I hear my dog moaning.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is.
For life.
We also would have accepted is quite good on toast.
Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
Vegetable?
It is a fruit.
Really?
Tomato logic.
See how much I know.
But you are now a part of Squash Squad, and that means a hell of a lot more. Alright, New Japan wrestler Tai Chi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
For men or women?
In general.
I think women have gotten like smaller and smaller, almost to like the thong type measurement. Men, it's got to cover their butt cheeks and like good coverage in the front. Like it can't be too tight. Like sometimes you don't want to be able to see everything someone's working with when they're wrestling and be distracted by that.
Yeah.
So you gotta
hammocks
jump
are
into
out.
the imagination, right?
Right. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No, I have not.
And that is the correct answer. That will conclude this interview. Thank you so much, Jenny, for coming on and doing this with us.
Thanks for having me.
Once again, where can we find all things Jenni Santana on social media?
All things Jenni Santana. It would be Jenni_Santana_ for Instagram and Twitter. And then all of my links are on my Instagram page. So definitely check it out. Follow me. Give a like if you didn't get annoyed by this interview. And be a Jenni Santana fan. Woo!
You also have a YouTube page.
Oh, I do. Yeah. I mean, that's like scarce, but I'm trying to post more on there. I want to post my jiu-jitsu matches and stuff. I think it's under Jenni Santana under YouTube.
And where can we find more tonight?
Subscribe.
There you go. And where can we find merchandise?
Oh, you can always message me on my social media, and my marketing manager will contact you, and she can get stuff out to you. I'll be at WrestleCon, and so I have a bunch of new photos finally to purchase, and then also I still have like t-shirts and stuff. So for sure, if you're interested in supporting me in any way, just give me a message or like comment on my social media, and I'll see it and get back with you.
All right. And you don't even have to type it into your Google machine. Simply go into the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox, and you will find all the links to all of our social media. Simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you're on. You have no excuse. Buy a damn shirt.
That's true. No excuse anymore.
Yes, we make it as literally as easy as possible.
There's different designs, different colors, all sizes necessary. So yeah, you'll be good. Just check it out.
If you're going to WrestleCon, meet Jenny.
Yeah, come meet me at the table. And we're also going to be advertising our clinic there. So all the services that we offer, it's in LA, so it's pretty close to Las Vegas and not too far. Come check us out for sure.
And of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment. We're on YouTube and Castbox. Of course, this was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Fair One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday as we interview Boilo Del Mar, and on Wednesday, the Drillbilly, Silas Mason. And of course, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at WrestlingWithE for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. You can follow me personally at JamesJ993, and where can we find Scooter?
As always, find me under your bed. And on Twitter, at ScooterDust. Of course, the remix, the only alternate commentary live streaming audio companion piece for premium live events, still up in the air. We will likely be doing something for WrestleMania. Keep your eyes to social media for that. And of course, revel in all my Twitch antics along with Rico Constantino Jr. and the rest of the Smoking Dragons clan, twitch.tv/Smoking Dragons.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to the new network.
Alright. And now, Jenny, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment.
Okay.
For our very special guest, Jenni Santana, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.